All right, and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. You guys saw the thumbnail. I put this up for a vote the other day, and it was around between 60 and 65 people voted saying, hey, they would be interested in this. So I decided in today's live, this is what I'm going to cover rather than current events. A lot of this will get seen afterwards by other people. So what I'm going to do with this is an idea that I was chatting with someone I've done a lot of consultations with in the past, Abby, who, if some of you watched my Facebook lives, he jumped into one of my live chats on Facebook while I was doing my cardio and discussed the service that I had been doing with him for the diet accountability, right? And Abby had said, this has been invaluable. He's like, I would recommend this service to other people. He kind of threw it out there, and he and I talked about it. Because he's a businessman also. And he had said, look, dude, this is like been extremely useful. You should do this as a normal service. And so what do I mean by diet accountability? So what I did with Abby, and we've been doing it for months, he's getting ready, for an event where he needs to be at a certain weight and leanness. He's fitted for a tux and everything. And so what we do with it, I'll get to that stuff in a minute, Pepper. And I'm going to avoid all troll questions, I think, from now on in these. I think if I want to not ban people, I need to just ignore nonsense, just let them spam and pretend I don't see it. So the thing is, what we did with Abby, and I'm not saying everyone would need to do the pictures, because he sends me a picture every morning and a weigh-in, and then we discuss calories. And essentially, it's $100 a month for diet accountability. And what I would do with the people who want to do this, because again, around 60-something people in that vote said they'd be interested in it. So what it would be is they would send me in Messenger every morning their weigh-in. So people who want to lose weight, they're trying to lose body fat, or even if they're trying to lean bulk, extremely lean bulk, okay, it would still be the same thing, diet accountability. So rather than me coach them on their lifting, rather than full coaching, it is a diet accountability service, is a separate service. And I've done this with some other clients too, who I did full-time coaching with, to where they're like, hey, can we do this, to where they give me their body weight and their calories every day, right? Send me their MyFitnessPal. And so essentially that's what the service would be. It would be people getting accountability. And with Abby, he noted, he goes, when I mess up, you jump on top of me. It's like, I'm actually scared to go do big cheats or binge, because I know I'm going to have to answer to you tomorrow, and you're going to be like, hey, what happened? Why did you binge? Where did you go? What happened? Why is the scale up 3 pounds out of nowhere? And he's going to have to account for it. So essentially what we're looking at is a service to where people will have me accountable for that. And that's all it is. It's not coaching, and that's why it costs less than coaching. But it's there to help people control their weight. And then what I would also do, if people are struggling with binging, I would give them strategies on dealing with binge eating. I personally have dealt with trauma-related binge eating. I'm a hardcore binge eater. Yet I've managed to get leaner and leaner. I've lost well over 100 pounds in the past. Right? Yes, Brotan, it was that poll I put up in the community tab a few days ago, right? A few days ago. And obviously I wouldn't even be able to probably accommodate as many people as voted yes, but realistically, a few people would be perfectly fine. So for something like that. But I mean, I could scale it up to something like 10 or 20 if that many were interested. I don't know that they would be, but if they were, I could certainly do it. So, but the idea is purely diet accountability, helping people with their binge issues, making sure that their weigh-ins are consistent. Well, they have to keep up with calories, and I recommend calorie adjustments. Yeah, but Brotan, I'm looking at scalability. It doesn't matter that 68% were not interested. Look at the numbers. It's irrelevant. Because if 60-something were interested and 120 were not, and I'm only looking for 5 to 10 people, do you see the point? That works. That works. It's totally workable. So that's actually valuable data. So yeah, I'm opening up the service officially. This is announcing that I'm doing it. All right. And there we go. And then I'll make other posts about it. But I thought that would be a great topic for a live because it's something I want to start doing. So we're going to discuss that here, which I've already done. And then I'll get over to some of your questions. Pepper. Jason, how many hours do you fast a day? Approximately 18. Right, approximately 18. And here's what I'm going to do, guys. I've unbanned a bunch of people. I'm going to let people post, but I'm not going to answer or acknowledge trolls. And I think that's the best way to do it. Like, just ignore them. Let them post, but not going to let it be about that. And what I'm going to ask the other regular people, if you see people posting crazy troll stuff, just ignore it. Don't reply to it. Just don't reply to it. Right? If they say, "Oh, Jason, what happened with Monica?" And then you guys go, "Who's Monica?" You're just being a troll. I'm going to ignore you too. Just don't feed them. All right. Tomic says, "Sup, coach?" What's up, Tomic? Frank, "Hey, coach." What's going on, Frank? Legend, you really used to binge eat? I mean, you saw how fat I used to be. You don't think I binge eated to get that fat? It's all related to my childhood trauma. But I have strategies for dealing with binge eating. How should martial artists modify their lifting routines? How should tennis players modify their lifting routines? You base it upon what they're doing specifically. All routines should be custom written. You don't modify your routine just because of that as a random, to where, okay, a person's going to do martial arts, so you do 6s instead of 5s. I mean, that's not what we do. No, you adjust all programming. You adjust all programming in based around what the person needs, and you should do that with your own programming. You look at what you're doing and adjust it. Right? There's no catch-all answer for that. Legend, how about you just ignore them? It's easy. All right, back in your 20s, I've always benched. But no, I mean, in my 20s, same thing. I got up to 300 pounds again before I started YouTube while I was sick. I lost a lot of it. But I put up some pictures still of me up close to 300 still. At least one. I had one picture I put up. I had another even fatter, and I can't find it. All right. Okay. Herschel Walker, a former professional football player, focused on bodyweight exercise instead of lifting weights. Walker's routine included push-ups, sit-up rings, and pommel horses. Yeah, but it's not going to fly these days, right? You know, that's the thing. That's not going to fly today in the competitive football world. And there's nothing inherently special about bodyweight exercises over doing weights, guys. People have these weird ideas that they're somehow superior. No, they're just part of your training. And there's nothing wrong with calisthenics as part of your strength routine, but they're not magical. And if that's all you do, it's limiting. Are there any specific lifts that you'd recommend, sports like BJJ or judo? Yeah, anything that improves your grip. One thing I do like to do with grappling athletes is some fat bar work. All right. Fat bar work. So adding some stuff in with axle bars, even pull-ups on fat bars, rows with fat bars, right? Because of the grappling component. Ben, so you're saying, what do you think about this? So the whole idea, just that, it's very limiting. It's just limiting to say I'm only going to use calisthenics. And, you know, just like for me, let's say that we're going to be a strength athlete, and then I say I am only going to use barbells. Why would you do that? What if you could be 1% better if you included some dumbbells or a reverse hyper machine? So why do we get dogmatic? Like, why do people feel the need to be dogmatic and say, I am only going to do calisthenics? Well, that's dumb. And it's not that there's anything wrong with calisthenics. Calisthenics are great. Like saying, I'm only going to use barbells. You're never going to touch a dumbbell or a cable or a machine, even a reverse hyper. Really? Why? That's dumb. We have different tools available. It doesn't make sense to do that. I'm not saying those things can't be a big part of your routine, right? All innate jokes aside, could the rice bucket stuff actually improve hand strength? I'm familiar with some of the martial arts stuff around that and using sand and gravel, but rice, no. But I thought it's sand and pebbles and things. I thought that's what the hardcore people do. So he's kind of doing the noob way, you know, and it's not working. Look at my forearms. All right, look at my forearms versus his, and I measured them for you guys. And I don't do rice bucket stuff. Maybe he needs to do some proper lifting for his forearms. You know, maybe he should do that. And he doesn't have hand strength. The guy needed straps to pull 500. Right? So clearly it's not working. Legend, with your weighted vest walks, will you ever work up to jogging or sprinting? Nope. Nope. I don't want to destroy my knees. I don't want to sprint or jog in a weight vest. Not at my age. Mm-mm. Yeah, I was going to say, I've heard more of the rice. I've not heard. I think I've always heard of sand. So I don't know why he's doing rice. Again, it must be an anime thing. Something he saw in Full Metal Alchemist, or that's a one, right? Full Metal Alchemist. That's an anime. I think I've seen that one. There's like a dude with a metal arm. Wow. All right. Have you tried an arm wrestling exercise to improve your grip, or just usual pulling movements? I mean, I've done some pinch work and stuff. All right, I've done plate pinches over the time, some block pinches, some axle bar work. All right. It just says rice would be much easier than sand. Yeah, and deadlifting 300 pounds is easier than deadlifting 600. Which one's going to make you stronger? Right? Wasn't it the guy in Kung Fu? He had hot sand, right? You guys remember the Kung Fu show? But since it's not a cartoon, NH isn't going to watch it. It had David Carradine in it, who was a real person, and he only watches cartoons. He watches cartoons only. Why aren't you guys clicking the likes, by the way? All these comments and one like. We need to have a talk about that, people. Like 6 of y'all asking questions that didn't bother to click like. Also, follow me on the Facebook fitness page. Thoughts on Paul Carter? You know that I hate those sort of questions, Atomic. Could you ask a specific question? Like, what do you think about Paul Carter's recommendations on rep ranges? Since you know I know a lot about Paul Carter, right? Because otherwise I'm going to give you a generic answer. Paul Carter is a strength and bodybuilding coach who used to be a powerlifting coach, who was top 20 in the world in powerlifting at one time, who used to heavily discuss the ideas of training for raw strength as opposed to training for equipped strength. So instead of triceps, it was a guy who said, hey, you need to get really strong at incline work and overhead pressing and pause incline if you want to be good at raw benching. That's my thoughts on Paul Carter. He's now in later days someone who's gone over into the ideas of some other exercise physiologists regarding lower volumes, moderate to heavy rep ranges for hypertrophy, and stopping just sort of failure, like 1 rep in reserve type training. Okay, so that's who Paul Carter is. Thoughts on NH critiquing your deadlift form? Who's he to critique my deadlift form? Him critiquing my deadlift form, which I'm not aware of, is laughable. He is a weak, pathetic pussy who has no business talking about my deadlift form unless it's to say that it's beautiful and he will never have as good a form or the strength that I do. That's the only criticism he can offer towards my deadlifts. So, and NH can't lift anything. He's weak. Maybe he needs to figure out what I'm doing correctly on the deadlift and imitate it. All right. Are his effective rep stuff actually true, staying between 4 and 8 reps, only 3 sets? Is it true or is it ideal? I think it beats you up a little more personally. And I don't buy into the idea that the calcium ion situation inherently is harder to recover from the higher reps. I don't fully believe that concept. I think we can do high reps and get really jacked. And I do notice that some people who try to do too much, to do all their training in that 4 to 8, they do get beat up quicker. Just saying, unless they severely limit their volume like he's recommending. But then I feel like they compromise a little bit of gains. So, I mean, I don't agree with Paul and all that stuff while still liking Paul and generally thinking he's a good guy. Is that fair? Yeah, I do bend my legs, actually. Thoracic rounding is a standard part of elite deadlifts, by the way. So when he said rounding back, what part of the back did he talk about, lumbar or thoracic? Because there's a difference. So again, it sounds like he doesn't know even the fundamentals of deadlifting for strength. That's why he has a Mickey Mouse hitching knee straps for a 500-pound deadlift, in spite of actually having a little bit of back. If he learned how to pull, he might actually be able to pull 500. John Hack's back is fully rounded when he deadlifts, looks like both lumbar and thoracic. Yeah, but John Hack's only in the 900s on the deadlift, so who cares, right? He doesn't deadlift over 1,000. He's only in the 900s. All right. And we've studied lumbar rounding. There's been literal studies on lumbar rounding in universities of elite powerlifters, by the way. There have been studies determine if it actually increases chances of injuries, and it turns out it doesn't if you're consistent in the back rounding, meaning so lumbar rounding is not associated with higher injury rates unless it rounds after you pull it off the floor. If you break it off the floor with rounding and you're used to doing it, it actually appears to have no higher risk of injury. And it also lets you pull a little bit of hamstrings out. So for lifters who are limited in their hamstring strength, sometimes a little bit of lumbar rounding can give them another 10, 20 pounds on their deadlift if their hamstrings aren't quite strong enough and they use their glutes to do it. All right, now that we got into some science. Okay. All right. Yeah, and I'm just going to ignore this control. All the strongest deadlifters round their backs a lot of things because it gives you better. Well, thoracic is the norm. All strong deadlifters round their T-spine. Not all round their lumbar, but some elite world record holders and people in that nature do round the lumbar. It depends on the person and their biomechanics. Jason, you're getting bigger. I know I'm getting bigger. I'm making gains. Finished my milk here. That was my Mootopia whole milk. No, I haven't seen Vegeta. I don't watch any of his videos about me, actually. I let him post in here. I interact with him, but I don't watch it. I don't care. So, Sunshine, why are we addressing troll stuff? Okay. Do you think this is the most jacked you've ever been? I don't know. So I'm just going to ignore these trolly things. Sunshine, we're done. I'm not talking to you anymore. All right. I don't know if it's the most jacked I've ever been. Probably the leanest I've been at any sort of size like this. I was bigger a bit in my 20s for a little while, but I was probably fatter too than I am now. So, all right. Or at least boofier. No, we're not bros. I let him in the channel and I interact with him because he behaves himself in here. And he's at least willing to do stuff under his real voice and face, unlike a bunch of losers. If you were to design a program like Ice Cream Fitness just for aesthetics and novices, it'd be very similar to the one I just put out the other day, Ram. I put up for late novices a push-pull legs routine. I just said how I would structure it. I made a video on it this week, and it should be in the video feed. I would go in that direction, right? That's the direction I would go, man. Because then you've got some curls and incline work and all that stuff in there. Are fat grips a good alternative to axle bars? Yeah, if you don't have an axle bar, fat grips are close enough for government work, right? Well, Jason, will you ever get back on trend? Nope. I've never liked trend. Well, I'm not going to say never. I'm natty these days, dude. We doing full natty, brah. Full natty life, brah. That's the new slang. That's going to be my motto. Why would Jason take anything that Fully Nate says about his deadlift when he deadlifts over 100 pounds more raw without straps? If anything, Nate should be asking Jason for advice. Absolutely. What about leg workouts in your aesthetic program? Which exercises? Some machine squats of some type. extra hamstring work, some calves. Standing calf raises wouldn't be a bad idea. Yep, I agree, but he says it's dangerous and it will hurt people. He also said you use fake plates with a coat. Now he's afraid to comment exactly. If you started doing some rec forearm work, would you incorporate standing barbell wrist curls? I don't know what his fat-free mass index is, but he's not as big as people think he is or he thinks he is. I promise you he's smaller than me. If he would ever show up anywhere and be next to me in person, I already know I'd mock him. I'm sure beyond a shadow of a doubt. Okay. Peru, I'm not going to discuss the most I've ever deadlifted off camera before we had smartphones because I can't prove it. So full stop. On camera, I have deadlifted 635 with calibrated plates and a stiff bar with just chalk and a belt. I've done it on camera. It's on the channel in my late 40s. Well, I've done 625 multiple times on camera, legend, including on a deficit. But in terms of total weight, I've done 635 on a normal conventional. Most of them. I didn't mock Simeon Panda or Kai Green. Simeon Panda's big, dude. Like Simeon Panda was straight up bigger than me, big time. I was definitely bigger than Ogus, Lovato, Jeff Side, all those guys, at least 20 pounds of muscle. NH says he's only slept with one girl, his wife. That's what he said. Do you think the average healthy man can deadlift 600 pounds or lifetime with the right training? I don't know about that. When did I first start? I don't know. It was probably 13 when I first picked one up and tried to learn a little bit. Went and took like two guitar lessons and played a bit all through high school. And then I quit for a long time and then started back up a couple years ago. Brian Shaw. Are you asking me who Brian Shaw is? He was a world's strongest man competitor. Dude's big. All right. Coach, have you deadlifted 700 before smartphones were a thing? No. So because I don't like to say it because I can't prove it, Peru, but if you want actual truth, I have deadlifted 20 pounds more in my 20s than I have done in my 40s on camera at one time. 20 pounds more. But I can't prove it. So we're just going to stick with 635 because I've done it on camera with calibrated plates. Fair? Best macro split for novices, not too aggressive on lifting. I don't know. Depends on if you want more carbs or more fat in your diet. Do you think I could replace tricep extensions with jam presses? I feel more. If you feel more, but maybe you should adjust. Maybe some different types of extensions also. Chris, I said that a long time ago. That doesn't apply because not everybody's going to power lift. Honestly, I think I was silly with that statement. Can we just own that? How about that? Rather than it take us as a troll comment, how about I go, that statement was silly and out of line. And I was probably wrong. How's that? Actually, let me rephrase that. I was wrong. It was silly. That was silly and dogmatic of me. Next. Do you train when sick? I don't recommend anybody train when sick. Let me be clear. That's why I said that in the vlog. I choose to do that. Right? I choose to do that. I don't recommend that you do it. Is that fair? Not that crazy. I've heard you bench over 400 or 20s. I can't prove it. So I won't mention it again. I've done 365 for a 2-second pause on camera. My goal is to get 375 this year. Coach, do you believe when Alpha Destiny says he has a girlfriend? No, unless he means natural hypertrophy, just girlfriend. How come you're back using the term half reps? I remember. Because I always have mixed feelings on it. I have mixed feelings on it. And I didn't like it because it created confusion. It created a lot of confusion to the point where I had a client trying to add up every half rep possible on all his front day, and it just got ridiculous. Like he was literally trying to add up half reps on for his front delts specifically. He was getting down to individual heads. It's just like, we're going too far. Isn't it amazing how people such have a long memory of your area? I know, right? I have like 13,000 videos on here. It's like, man, you guys have watched every one of them. People who think their favorite fitness influencer is natural need to grow up. That's right, unless it's me, because I'm now doing natty life, brah. Full natty life, brah. All right. All right. It gets a lot harder as you age, Marcinio. That is a fact. Well, it gets hard. Well, not always your Pinor, but, I saw your natty not on max attuned to the guy that only machines surprisingly jacked. He uses machines with light weight and low reps. Super slow. All right. Will, all I'm going to say is full natty, bra. I'm not saying what that means. Full natty, bra. You know what natty means? Natty is someone who claims to be natty. All right. That's what it means. All right. I know people change their stance on things from time to time. No, Peru. That's just a troll comment. How about you accept the fact that I've been putting out information for 13 years and make thousands of videos, and my views just over time? I don't know. Do your views change over 13 years on different topics? All right. How do you retain gains and then using roids once you decide to continue as a natty? Lots of protein, bro. Yeah, I'm natty. Jason is natty by YouTube community's definitions, exactly. 20s Jason versus Alex could be an epic liftoff. When I was walking around at 240, 245 in my 20s, he'd be screaming about Wilkes at that point. Have you switched back to all Team Blaha members living on box squats and good mornings? No, some of them do. Depending on what their needs are. Some of my guys are entirely aesthetic. I have guys who don't really care about their lifts other than the progressive overload giving them muscle. I have people who care a lot about their big lifts. So it really depends on what we're doing. I was doing, at that time, keep in mind, it was strength coaching was the primary. Genoy, I don't want to go into all that. I am currently choosing to stay single at this time. I am not ready to be in a relationship at this moment. Nothing more than casual. Alex is mocked me almost everyone because of his height. That's a sad reality. It is what it is. All right. Do any of your clients run conjugate? Some of them do some conjugate variations. None of them mess with the 5-3-1 type stuff. Is 34 too late to restart from scratch with lifting? No. Yeah, there are pictures, Marcinio, and yeah, I was definitely bigger. Behold the power of trend. All right. All right, man, everyone just quit asking questions all of a sudden. What do we got going here, guys? What do we got going? Besides these trolls, or did I disconnect? Did we lose the connection? What's your typical dinner? I don't know that I have a typical dinner. This evening, it was chicken drumsticks, right? I had some, for my final meal today, I had some whole Nutopia milk, which is low carb. I had some peppers, some red peppers, and some chicken drumsticks. No, Chris, it's that I don't always buy into the The traditional conjugate, I don't think we all need to use it. I like elements of conjugate. I like elements of conjugate. I'm trying to downsize my home gym. What equipment would you say is absolutely necessary? Definitely a barbell, the reverse hyper. What's your favorite cheat meal? Probably pizza. I haven't had any pizza in almost a year, but it's my favorite. Serious question today. I farted while squatting because people heard it in the gym, and now I'm too embarrassed to go back. Should I find? No, dude. Farting is just part of gyms, dude. During squats, it happens, man. Right? What do you think is the minimum you need to work out to maintain gains or get stronger? I have a surgery rotation coming up that's 6 days a week and 12. That's going to be rough. You're going to probably lose some gains, but do what you can. Like, so a surgery rotation, I'm assuming then you're a surgeon or doctor. Will you ever enter a meet again? Yeah, probably eventually. Let's see. You ever make up with Alex Hernandez? Probably not. I recommend that you don't approach girls at the gym. I'm going to recommend that if they don't approach you, leave them alone. Just leave them alone. Let them do their thing. Right? It's extremely difficult because they're used to 57 dudes hitting on them all the time. You're not going to win that one. You're going to have to be super hot and super smooth. So I'm just going to recommend you leave them alone and let them come to you if they're interested in the gym. Your views on six-pack abs. Could you ask a different question? Ask your question a different way. I don't understand what you're asking me. I mean, I guess my view is whatever my eye level is seeing it. I'm not sure. Conjugate does work for most girls. Yeah, I mean, conjugate's pretty good. You think you'll ever train? I'm getting leaner now. I already have abs coming out. It's not train for it. You diet for it. Stan, there are studies showing fidgeting can burn 500 extra calories a day. It's been seen in the lab. Or supplement antioxidants like that's probably you shouldn't generally need to supplement antioxidants. Eat real food. Janoy, how have you handled it when women approach you at the gym? I don't know. Was I single or with somebody at the time? It kind of matters. All right. Can 20, 30 minutes of strength work out 2 to 4 times a week, maintain some gains or get stronger? You'll definitely maintain. You may not get stronger, but you can at least maintain with that during what you're talking about with that surgery rotation. Thoughts on more stable exercise being better for hypertrophy? Not necessarily. Women approaching is a once in a lifetime thing. Janoy, then you get their phone number. That's real simple if they offer it. All right. Is recomposition possible for skinny fat novice lifters in a calorie deficit? Yes. Hey, legend, do we really need those sort of troll questions? All right. How old are you? I've watched you back in the day. I am 48 years old right now. I am 48. How much deficit is appropriate? The smallest that you need, because the slower you cut, the easier it is to gain muscle and not lose it. Do you have a set time when you go online? No. when it works for my schedule and my life, and I'm in the right mindset to get up here and do a live. Do you have kids? Nope. Let's see. Do you use tests right now? Full natty life, bra. Didn't you hear what I said earlier? All right. Is 198 the leanest you've been? I've been leaner than I was at that meet. That was water cut. No, I've been leaner in the last year than I was when I prepped for that meet. That was a water cut. If I'm using mesocycles with undulating periodization to maximize hypertrophy, avoid CNS fatigue, how should I structure my microcycles for sarcoplasmic growth considering beta alanine over creatine? Oh my God. Are stem cells good for muscle regeneration? We don't know. More research needed. How long does muscle memory last? Is it permanent? We don't know, but we know it lasts for years. Is a 400 to 500 deficit too much for recomposition? How fat are you? Yorkie, that's a sliding scale depending upon how much body fat you have. If you're really lean, it might be too much. All right. Nice ChatGPT question. See them, right? Will says lasted 10 years for me. Yeah, that's actually happened. I've seen it happen with people. I have seen it happen to people. So let's get over to actually answering Janoy's question. My cutoff is usually 10 years younger than me. It's kind of the limit. So the youngest I have dated in recent years was 38. So generally, I prefer women my age up to about 10 years younger than me. So 38 up to about 48. Samuel says, that's good because I haven't touched a weight in 2 years getting back. Yeah, you'll have muscle memory. All right. Do you have your own line of merch? I mean, I have my stuff on the channel here. All right. CM, appreciate it, man. If you guys could all follow me on Facebook, and if you'd like my stuff there, CM, I would appreciate it. Jason, do you think you should 5 by 10 touch and go in the bench for hypertrophy? No. All right. No, I was clicking over to my Facebook actually. What is the best time to take creatine and at what dose? Post workouts probably best. 4 to 5 grams, 3 to 5 grams. Janoy, I'm not going to give you dating advice here. You're going to have to pay me for that. All right. Athletics programs for novice, what rep ranges for you recommend? 5 to 10. Have you ever done the 6 by 6? I messed a little with some of that, but not that much. Have you noticed creatine helping cognitive performance, kind of like coffee? I haven't. There's studies that suggest it might be helpful for this. I've never noticed it per se. I'm 152, 6 foot tall, around 20% body fat. No, you probably don't need to cut. No, just recomp. No. If you're 6 foot 152, going on a diet's an eating disorder at that point. Recomposition at your current weight, bump your protein up. Did you invent the 5x5? No. I'm not old enough. Have you had any clients that were college football players at the time they were my client, or had they previously been? So the answer to the first would be no. The answer to the second would be yes. Janoy, I'm not interested in fighting anyone. All right. Is that mostly in the elderly? Some of it, I don't think all of it, but no, there's definitely been some research there looking at it. Unless you found some other stuff, there could be some stuff from non-elderly. Do all your clients have to take before and after photos? No, absolutely not. Or do you think pause triples? Hey, Legend, how about we take a middle ground and you don't need to do 5 sets of 10 touch and go? I mean, what do you see me prescribing and doing for a lot of stuff? I don't think you need to do that. I mean, you could. I'm just saying it's not necessary. You could rotate up multiple exercises instead of doing 5 sets on the main movement. Unless you make a ton of money from it, fighting for the sake of it is for idiots. I agree. I mean, if you're going to get paid a lot, I get it. But fighting just to fight? No. No, I'm not letting him coach me in arm training. Fighting should only be for life and livelihood. Hey, Chris, I'm just not answering you. You can keep posting it, but it's going to waste your time. Your views on HMB? No, it's useless for you, dude. There's no reason to supplement HMB. Hi, Jason. Do you think it's reasonable to get a second barbell? I mean, I have multiple barbells. What do you think of intermittent fasting with windows of 20 hours or more? I think you're getting problematic on retaining muscle if you're not careful. Right? How come Arnold and all the big bodybuilders did higher reps on bench press? They also did low reps on bench press. Arnold recommended doing multiple rep ranges on the bench press, didn't he? It's funny how all these guys talking trash don't have any pictures or videos of them training or shirtless. I bet you they're all fatter and weaker than me. All of them. Every one of them. I guarantee it. What socials are you most active on? Facebook? Do squat, bench, deadlift numbers correlate to the amount of muscle mass? Yes, to some extent. That's a heavily studied topic, Jelena. It's not that straightforward, but yes, it is heavily correlated. How much does specificity of training actually impact one rep max? Probably about 10%. All right. Is daily protein intake more important than weekly intake? Yeah, to some extent. But I mean, are we really going to get into that degree of trying to figure out the answer to that, Ben? I mean, you could try to come to an answer, but there's going to be no practical application, right? You're going to get into paralysis by analysis and mental masturbation with that very quickly. Yes, Chris, you're blocked. We can't see you. Usually it's a pause 3 to 315. Usually Arnold and the other good guys would do many sets of bench. Yeah, but keep in mind, you're talking Arnold's training. He did like 40 sets of muscle group a week. So keep that in context. So he still did tons of heavy work on the bench. He's still doing 3 or 4 sets of heavy weight, really heavy weight, low reps, if you look at his routines. All right. But mainly the thing is, I'm not going to do Arnold's volumes. I'm not going to do it. That'd be ridiculous. But Legend, so how do you think I train now? So I started with triples on the bench. I did some 5s on incline, and then I did high rep work, 10 to 20 reps on the other accessories for chest afterwards. That's what I literally did today. I'm not a fan of this photo press. Old school bodybuilders knew how to train. Yeah, they generally did. The question about daily, weekly protein intake is uselessly damn true. Yeah, I agree. The average normal, wow, whatever. No, I have no intention of doing a classic mastery show right now. I'm really not interested. Nope. Does anyone ever advocate like a 500 if you're really fat? Your regular sharing your progress is great motivation for getting back in the gym. I appreciate it, Ram. What do you think about sleeping 6 hours a day opposed to 8? Yeah, that's going to affect muscle growth. Absolutely. Yeah, you're not actually going to do that though, dude, because I've already measured unpumped at 16 the other day on camera right here. So you need to go ahead and just pay me. We totally did it unpumped. So send the 500 now or you're a liar. You're done. You offered, I've already done it this week on camera. Unpumped, I was already there. So put the $500 up or you're just a liar. Done. I've already done it. So put it in a super chat. All right. Jason, is it okay to run the novice 2.0 program from a detrained state for 4 to 6 weeks? I suppose so. My girl says I look hot shirtless in a pair of jeans. I find women like that. Yeah. So. No, fake. Literally just a couple days ago, it was 16. Like you can check the footage. Pretty straightforward. So where's my money? Pay up, and I'm going to ignore you after this. All right. I'm YouTube natty, dude. I'm full natty, bro. Do you think Arnold had lagging legs for the air? No, not for the air. I mean, he won the Mr. Olympia all those times. What's the contemporary YouTube definition of natty? A person who tells you that they're natty. They put natty in their hashtags and they put natty in their name and they tell you they're natty. That's the definition. Social media gives us a false perception of what realistically achievable. Yeah, it does. Very commonly, Marcinio. That's it. If you claim you're natty, exactly. That's what natty means. Yeah, Legend, you were in the chat when I measured him. Have you seen anyone overhead press more than Coke? Yeah. That really fat dude does 500 pounds straight up strict press. Yeah, I'm just going to ignore the guy because he knows they were the other day. I proved it on camera, and he's not going to pay. All right. The diet coaching is $100 for the diet accountability, which I kind of covered at the start of the video. Did a whole spiel on it. The fat dude's transformation is crazy. He was lean. The dude had abs. He was 200 and lean, and he bulked up to like 400 pounds. Crazy fat, so that he could strict press 500. The noble natties are actors and not good ones. Yep. It's funny how people want to talk trash when all of a sudden I actually look pretty good these days this year. Tons of people have complimented my transformation, and yet people still want to throw hate. Like, come on. It's not how it works, guys. Are you ever go back to low fat, high carb? Maybe, Ben, if it suits me. I didn't enjoy when I went back up on the higher carbs again recently. I didn't like how I felt. I didn't like how I started looking, so I trimmed them back down a couple of days ago. I'm just going to stick with the lower carb, even for gains. I don't necessarily find it makes me more sleepy. These people have been brainwashed by the fake natty industry pretty much. Pretty much they have, Marcinio. But what do? All you can do is put out good information and try to help people. But then you're going to be hated for it sometimes. People don't like their illusions being attacked, their bubbles being burst. They don't like it. They want to believe and they want to be led astray. I think a lot of people are addicted to it. They like to be conned and deceived. Is there any reason to try to cut out diet sodas? Sure, if they make your stomach uncomfortable. That confirmation bias. Yep, absolutely, man. How much fiber is too much in a day? Depends on what you're adapted to. I mean, the body can adapt to higher intakes of fiber over time. Your gut flora will adapt. It's crazy how many young people I see in the gym addicted to pre-workouts. Yep. And I've told people for years not to take them. I've been against them for close to a decade. No one can say you don't look good. Exactly, Legend. I get plenty of compliments online and offline, so people are ridiculous. Again, that's when you know people are being true haters at that point. They really are. All right. No, not Iron Baby. I'm talking about, was it Richard Andrews or whatever his name, something like that. Would you ever date a carnivore girl who is super hot? I'd convince her to start eating vegetables, but yes. So we should clarify the 150 pounds I lost was before I started lifting. All right. Should put up a Blaha. Jason appreciates the noble 90s outnumber you. Should put together a pro Blaha. Doesn't matter that they outnumber me though, because it's me. I'll always be the last man standing, dude. Have the big ones line up and the short ones stack up. Steve, probably. Um, I mean, unless you, I mean, I don't know, dude. I mean, it's your money. If you want to spend your money on that and you have the money, then it's just your prerogative. I think ashwagandha is a scam. You go on weekends. I don't drink alcohol. The resistance in Nazi Europe was also outnumbered. Doesn't mean they were incorrect exactly. Right? Listen, this guy's still going on and on. The other people who were in the chat know it was 16. It was measured right there on camera. He just doesn't want to pay. Um, does strength drop a lot when you're sick? No, I mean, I did good benching today, despite having pretty much, I think it's the flu. I did 3x3 on a pause bench with no wrist wraps with 315. Yeah. Yeah, see them, they were just a hair over 16 cold. And this was like 2 days ago, 3 days ago on camera, right here. So, uh, do you meal prep? To some extent, yeah. I mean, I pre cook all my meat in large amounts. Um, no, I'm not interested in a DMT trip. And I know girls who are into that. Like I have friends who are into that sort of thing. Into psychotropics, it's not my thing. No, I mean I would have no trouble getting it. I'll get some right now, but I'm not interested. All right, guys, we're about the top of the hour here. We're coming up on the hour. I think we're going to wind it down. All right. So I hope it's been informative. Let me give you guys a bicep shot before we go. Oh, mountain bicep. Yes, hold on. Let me roll the sleeve up a little bit. Oh, mountain bicep. Yes.